Knut. How are you, buddy? Good evening. 8 o'clock in Norway. 1,800 hours. No, that would be 2000. 8 p.m. Anyway, just getting started. I'm going to play for just a second. Yes, it's early. That's right. Heck, the bars aren't even open in Oslo. Anyway, I haven't played a strat in a while, and I wanted you guys to hear the strat through the new Empire. I'm on the cleanest setting, obviously, but it's got that good strat Marshall thing. Let's bump it up on the middle gain thing. Up to the higher setting. Anyway, strats through proper Marshalls have a certain unruliness to them that I really like. They're not sweet and cooperative like they are through Fender. Pretty fun little sound. I dig it. All of the normal licks I play, I just do them to show the amp off instead of showing me off, which is not much to show off for me. But just want you to hear the same thing. Yeah, that's kind of got the sound. Then when you're down here on the cleaner, this is more like a non-master volume Marshall that would be on 5, 4, 5, something like that. And then the great sound is to throw just a little dirt box over the top. That's a Klon. This is a Rat, this is what I did for a decade. Sorry, I didn't warm up today at all. But that's a good 80s rock and roll sound right there. It's a Rat pedal. But if I actually go up to the little more gainy side with the pedal still on, this is like a non-master volume Marshall on. Let's turn the pedal off first. Noisy single coil pickups. This would be more like a non-master volume Marshall that's on 7. Throw the Rat pedal on top of that. You got kind of everything you need right there. So let's preface what we're talking about here today. I'm just rambling right from the get-go. This is the Empire, the amp we used to make. We started making this amp in 2009, I think, maybe 2010. Anyway, we were kind of hurried to get it out. We were really happy with it. Channel 3 we were kind of close to happy with, but we thought, well, we'll go to NAMM, we'll get some feedback there, and we'll use that feedback to make Channel 3 better. We went to NAMM, and everybody loved Channel 3, so we left it alone. Internally, though, we weren't wild about it. So our good buddy Mike Franciscini decided to go through and redo it, and he kind of improved all the channels. We're bleeding some treble off. We're doing a couple things differently. Treble in different places, right? There's bypass treble, and then there's a loud treble. There's all sorts of places where you can mess with treble. Also, treble is usually not just the problem itself. The problem is the frequency of treble that you have. You know, there's a spectrum for treble, mid, and bass, right? If you're in the wrong spot in the treble spectrum, it will become annoying. It'll become, you'll get an anxiety reaction from it, and it's not a good thing. So we kind of move that around a little bit. There's still plenty of treble, as you can hear. Let me turn the pedal off, sorry. Plenty of treble, and this is a pretty bright strat. But it's in the right spot, so it doesn't make you go, you know. And then there's a mid-range notch in here, that which is exemplary of good Marshalls. They all have that upper mid-range honk to them. Almost like there's a comb filter on or something. So, thanks for a fun sound. Anyway, this amp is for sale, and I need to sell it because we're getting ready to do our first build soon of Stone Ponies and Little Elvises. Which will both be mildly updated. I think you'll be very happy with them. But we need a little money. Hey, Jamie, I have a real Klon coming in from a trade on Saturday. I should probably keep it, but we will see. Yeah, that's right. There's worth so much money, it's sell it. You know. I have a Klon. I have the Behringer $68 Klon, and I've owned a few Klons, and I've played a bunch of them. This thing sounds every bit as good. That's what that is. I always considered a Klon to be sort of like steak sauce. You know, like you're really eating a steak, but a little bit of steak sauce brings it out. You know, makes it feel different on your taste buds. That's kind of what a Klon is for me. I don't use it as a distortion box. Distortion? Easy for me to say. Distortion box so much as I do it as just a bump, a boost, an amelioration, if you will, an extra layer of goodness. So I go back down to like the clean side here, and put the Klon on. It's not a huge difference, but all of a sudden it's like, well, that sounds better. But it doesn't sound like I really have a pedal on because I've got the distortion down pretty low. That's no pedal. Jamie, you want to buy this amp for your store? Such a good deal. Good detail right there, huh? which is how dirty that original record was. Everyone plays it so dirty. Maybe you could go up to... Go out and get yourself some deep dark shades with lenses so dark they won't even know your name. Such a great song. Go get yourself some cheap sunglasses. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good neck pickup love. Anyway, what's going on in your guys' world? Tell me a good story. I remember this Strat is my mid-'80s Japanese Stratocaster reissue, but everything's been changed on it, except for the frets. It's got a new bridge. It's got Ron Ellis pickups in it. It's got Michael DeTemple's nut on here and some locking tuners, and it's actually really cool. And I told you the story about how this came to be, right? Going to Musicians Institute in the 80s. Almost like it a little cleaner. Playing sloppy, man. It's such a weird lick. Screwed it up. Cut. Take two. Well, don't ask me about the shape I'm in. I can't sing, I ain't pretty, and my legs are thin. Who wrote that lyric? I mean, that's amazing. Don't ask me what I think of you. I might not give the answer that you want me to. That's best, isn't it? That's the best line ever. Hear that good clank in there? That's proper Marshall clank. Now, this amp is only a pair of 6V6s. It's not EL34s. It has occurred to me that I should make this with EL34s and a low voltage setup. And maybe we'll just do that with this one if no one buys it and do a little conversion. Get a different output transformer. Throw a pair of 34s or KT77s in there. What do you see out there, Darla? This dog is keeping watch. What's out there, honey? Darla, what are you doing? Huh? Anyway, what's on your guys' mind? Tell me something good. Because, you know, I got a little dose of the news this morning. That's depressing. Yeah, not a lot of great things to point to these days. I filled up my car the other day at $6.50 a gallon. That's fun. Yeah. It's a good time. I'm glad I got electric guitars and dogs and stuff like that to keep myself in the good place. The dog is looking for Lars Hovard. Yes. Hey, Darla, where's Lars Hovard? Where's Lars? Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm kind of enjoying the sound. I'm really kind of... This is the first time I played a Strat through this version of the amp. Another old 60s song turned into a rock and roll song. What is it? If I play the riff, you'll get it. Well, if you smile on my face, I can't remember the words. I played it in bands. It makes a great rock song. No one's typed the title yet. The tears of a clown when there's no one around. Man, that's good rock and roll sound. Let's go a little dirty just for fun. Some of those Motown songs are so good as rock songs. Remember? Four Tops, right? I could only sing like Rod Stewart. I'd have a different trajectory in my life. Yeah. So there you go, rock and roll. Who wants rock and roll? Who wants to play some rock and roll? Rob Price just got a Fender Vintera 250 Strat. Congratulations. They're nice for the closeout price. Seems they might be a Ventura 3 coming out soon. Put Duncan Surfer pickups in the neck, nice. The middle was stock, was fine, and a Callahan bridge and the high wood saddles, which are awesome. Sometimes you luck out with the Mexican Strats. I think a lot of them are great, but you just got to change the hardware. I think the woodwork and the quality of wood's excellent. It was a long time ago they made that Road Worn series. Those are great guitars. Maybe a little too relict, but the wood was great. Put good pickups and good hardware on there. That sounds killer. There's a rumor. There's an apocryphal tale. There's a folklore tale here in LA. Hey, Anthony Purdy, how are you, buddy? That amp sounds great. Thank you, buddy. It'd probably sound better if you were playing it. But supposedly when they opened the Mexican factories, which I think is the late 90s, something like that, they had a competition at Fender. I don't know if this is true. I'm just repeating it. So huge asterisk over my head. But why are we mirrored today? Sounding good. Are you guys seeing me mirrored? Oh. Hold on a second. I'm seeing it straight. Do I look left-handed? Oh, let's see. Hold on a second. Oh, it says mirror my camera. But when I do this, now I look left-handed. Is that better? You remember? Oh, I think the problem is playing left-handed at 65. Oh. Don't stop the story. Okay, so I look backwards on the screen, but you're saying I look okay now. Is that right? I look left-handed on the screen now. Something's up with the software today, I guess. Anyway, so please tell me, confirm that I look okay. So anyway, they had a competition because there was a lot of rivalry between the Mexican factories and the ones in Southern California, like out in Corona and stuff. So they had a competition, and they all made 57 strats and 62 strats and a few other models. And but there was a blind test, and supposedly the Mexican ones were preferred. I don't know about unanimously, but overall the Mexican ones were more what's the word I'm looking for? Accepted. Isn't that crazy? But also the story back then was all the guys that were running the Mexican factories used to work up here. And so when they opened the factories down in Mexico, a lot of them just went home, you know. They had a good job and they went home. I'm down on the lowest gain channel. I've got it up. That's because the majority of us hear with our 17-year-old ears. Yeah. And the sound we want and the sound we first, learn to play. That's right. Exactly right. We need to come up with a name for that. But my sister was with Fender to build guitars, and Eddie wanted the guitars built in Mexico. Yeah. They do good work. Mexican craftsmanship in general is really good, to generalize. But so Michael Branson, you're nailing it. So there's a thing, like, I've read studies about this because I'm really into the subject of sound and influencing on the brain and all that stuff. Not because I'm trying to influence you, just like why are we so attracted to certain frequencies of sound, all this sort of thing. But at a macro level, there's a period from the time you're about 11, I think, until you're about 21 or 23, where your brain is really, really open. And whatever music you're listening to, then we also, when you're that age, you have the time to sit around and listen to music over and over and over again. Like, I had albums where I literally spread the grooves on them. I played them so much before CDs, right? And, you get it ingrained in your head. And then there's photographs. You know, albums used to have all these photographs of the artist playing. And so you would see Jimi Hendrix playing a white Strat with a Marshall behind him. And you would listen to the record, and it made the association in your subconscious. So however old you are, whatever you were listening to in that decade window of mental openness is what you're drawn to. And then you pick up stuff later. I mean, I got turned on to things when I was older that I hadn't really noticed sounded that great before. Like Greg Allman's voice, you know, stuff like that. Neil Young. Neil Young's rig with, you know, Tweed Deluxes and all kinds of Magnavox amps, all kinds of blown up shit, but it sounds really good. Michael Branson says, I would love to have my 490 and 498 pickups back in a Gibson. Even though my Burstbucker Pros are better, I miss the mushy nostalgia. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I have that 335, which I should bring back out. It has those custom buckers out of the factory, and I really like them. I just put a new bridge on the guitar, which made it jump. really weird seeing myself play left-handed. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, I'll figure it out later because it ain't important. Let's go a little dirtier. We can go all the way up on this amp, you know, full crank. Just a little bit. That's a good rock and roll sound. You can do a lot with that. You can do a lot with that. Excuse me. I mean, just as it sits. But then also just make it a pedal platform. Squeal in the system here, so. Michael Branson says, is it true that the Royal Albert is your take on Page's matchless? No. Where'd you hear that? That's a good one. I love all these rumors. There's a lot of rumors about 65. I didn't know Jimmy Page ever had a matchless, unless some you're talking about Jimmy Page when you say Pages. There's John Page, the luthier, I know, who's amazing. No, the Royal Albert, which I have a couple of them coming back. We're going to convert those to the modern thing. I'm getting a couple of them back from Keith Urban, actually. The Royal Albert started out as, I had a 63 Selmer treble and bass, if you're familiar with that. It had crocodile skin, Tolex on it. It was really sexy. Yeah, Jerry, let me tell you about the Empire here in a second. So I had a 63 Selmer crocodile skin treble and bass that I brought back from living in England. I bought it over there for nothing. I mean, like 150 pounds or something. And it was a pair of BL34s, but the circuit was kind of like a showman. But it had British parts, had British transformers, British capacitors, British tubes, you know, the whole English, European tubes. And it had a few circuit differences, but it was kind of a British Fender, and it was a really good sound. And Peter loved it and wanted to use it for his gig, and he had a later Selmer treble and bass, the black and white ones. I'm picking up a whine somewhere. I don't know what that is. Maybe these lights, I guess. I like that. Anyway, so we started out doing that, and then we just kind of made some tweaks here and there until we were happy with it. And then there's a switch in the middle that gets you a little more gain. It's not another gain stage. We're just changing the gain structure on some of the tubes in there. Keith Urban used it for a long time. We originally made them with KT77s. And then the supply of KT77s went down entirely. It was very frustrating and embarrassing. So at the time, Keith Urban had 4 of them out for his rig. Rich Robinson of the Black Crowes was using a pair of them. There were a few other big bands using them, and they're great. And one by one, the KT77s all started going bad. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, we know how to get around that now. At the time, we just converted them to EL34s, and they didn't sound as good. Keith still has 3 of them, I think. I'm trying to get 2 of them back so we can modify them, one for him, and he's going to participate in our R&D program. So, okay, let's talk about the Empire, Jerry. I'm sorry. So the Empire is a pair of 6v6s, and I have three distinct preamps built into here. They're not discrete, but they work together. We pull parts in from one and out of the other, and it's a pretty complex little switching thing that's going on. But they're basically three levels of Marshall. Only it's not British tubes. This one in particular that we're selling has really nice high-end preamp tubes in it. So it's a little more money. If you want me to put stock tubes in it, I can save you some cash. But so down here is more early Marshall JTM 45. Very much a Fender vibe. Now I have it up where it's getting dirty and I can turn it down. Just a little more hair than that. So I have this thing I like to convert Beatles songs into rock songs, right? So the second channel is more of a non-master volume notion. Late 60s, 1971, up into that area. And then the third is more of a master volume, Mark II master volume sort of setup. So you get more. Very bright, more cutting. So, that's what's going on. And it's Mercury transformers in here, so caps, like all of our original formula. And it feels great under finger, like it feels like a proper old amp. Michael Branson, love the show, gotta jump. Maybe back in a bit. Okay, we'll be here for a little while. About a half hour, probably. Thanks for dropping by. Sounds like an old amp. And I'm just playing through a, thank you, Jerry. I'm just playing through an IR right now. If you like the sound of this, you'll love it in person. I'm just playing through the Oxbox IR for Marshall 412. This amp is for sale, Jerry, for a very good price. Trying to round up some cash to get our first build on the new stuff together. So if anybody's interested, it would be very helpful. I'm digging this down on the lowest gain setting just for a great rhythm. Sounds good, rock and roll sound. Yeah, that works. Go here, just a little more dirt. Pedal. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Spruce Creek Traders, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. So, okay, let me just say this again. This is a really poor excuse, but it's the truth. I screw up playing guitar a lot anyway, but I'm here reading comments. I'm trying to look into the camera. I'm trying to speak in complete sentences and play guitar at the same time. If only I needed to walk and chew gum. So when I screw up, just be forgiving. I know I made a mistake. And we get the idea. Yeah, it's working. I think it's good to go. Who wants it? It's a new amp, basically, fully lifetime warranty, like our normal stuff. The only imperfection is there's a little ding on the Tolex right here, which I can save you a little money for that. It's not bad. You won't even notice it until someone points it out, but it is there. Let's do that with just a little clon on top of it. I'm on the clean channel still, but just a little clon. There you go. Look at that. Where are you from, Spruce Creek traders? I see a little man playing guitar there, but that's all I can make out on my screen. Yeah. Anyway, there you have it, fellas. This guitar is for sale. So is that Junior that I played a lot. It's a 58 custom shop reissue. Jerry White says, I promised myself no more amps at least for 2026. All right, otherwise I'd be interested. I have a London and a high-powered Soho, amazing gig amps. Well, I'll let you off the hook this time. I mean, you could, there's lots of ways around that. Okay. I'm just loving this. That's a great rock and roll. I haven't played a strat through this amp yet, the way that it's been adjusted, and I'm loving it. I can go out and play all night with this. Little vibro thing. Yeah, that works. That works, man. If you break a promise to yourself, though, Jerry, isn't it kind of like Tree falling in the woods, you know. If a tree falls in the woods, is the Pope Catholic? Wait a minute. I'm mixing up my jokes. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Anyway, I wish I had some more good stories today to tell you. I don't, you know. Just trying to get this thing off the ground. I'm waiting on some really important numbers from the contract manufacturer, which is going to light the candle. And then I will keep you up to date on everything we're doing because I think you're going to be happy with it. I think you're going to be very happy with it. It's not a, not a complicated story. Working on all sorts of legal stuff to get, legally back in business. And that's boring as HE double hockey sticks. It's no fun. But anyway, yeah, I can't wait. The first step is we're going to make prototypes of a new Elvis and a new Stone Pony, which will take a little while. We're going to do it on printed circuit board, which I'm not worried about the sound being correct or the quality being any worse or better. The guy that we're contracting is great, and printed circuit boards have a lot of strata. There's really shitty ones and there's really good ones as well. So we're going to be using good ones with heavy traces and high quality boards and all that stuff. So they won't be cheap amps. They're not going to be $3.99. There's only one way to make amps that sell for $3.99 is to make one that costs $100 wholesale to make, which is pretty hard to do. Most of my transformers cost more than $100, let alone an entire amp and a cabinet with a chassis and knobs and switches and lights and wire and capacitors and resistors and tube sockets and jacks and $100. Like, I don't know how anybody, it's just made by overseas labor with overseas parts. It's the only way to do it. I always tell the joke, like the first time when I moved here in 1986, everybody had a JCM 800 and I had a non-master volume Marshall. So for a minute, I tried the JCM 800 thing. I went down to Guitar Center and bought one. I bought a used one. It wasn't even Guitar Center. It might have been Black Market Music, but I bought a used one to fit in with everybody. And but a brand new one, I bought a used one for like $600. This is 1986, right? $600 you could buy a good used car. But a new one was $9.99 or something, and I thought, Jesus Christ, who's going to spend $1,000 on an amplifier? That's a lot of money. And there were plexis everywhere for $300-400 back then. 100 watters were $600, 50 watters were $300-400. Still my favorite amp. But anyway, Peter's got one of mine. He's going to send it back eventually. So anyway, if you go down to Guitar Center right now and want to buy a 100-watt master volume Marshall, they're $9.99. How do you think they do that? That was 40 years ago. So you can figure it out. You can read between the lines. You can see what's up. Let me set this guitar down. Hang on one second. And then we'll talk for a few minutes, and we can talk about whatever you want. I'm easy. I'm open. So anyway, headphone hair. So anyway, the amps aren't going to be cheap. They're going to be affordable. For example, like this amp, when we made this amp 16 years ago, we had to sell it for $3,000 retail, and we didn't make a whole lot of profit doing that. Dealers bought it for $2,300 or something. It was $29.99. Hey, Matt. And which meant if it was $2,300, it costs us about $1,100 to make it, because you have to at least double your money or you go broke. If you don't double your money, you can't pay your bills. I mean, it's not like I was taking home a lot of money. So if I were to make this amp now, it would cost me, well over $2,000 in parts and labor to make it. With the stuff that's in here, it's premium stuff, and it's hand wired. And I remember this one took 12 hours of labor to build, which is by far the longest one because of all the crazy switching that's in here. A lot of our amps would take 6 to 8 hours to make. This one took double, right? It's 12 hours. So it added a lot. The transformers are expensive, and then with all that circuitry in there, there's a whole lot of parts. It added up. So if I were to make this now, let's say, for purpose of conversation, if I were to make it for 2,000, bare minimum, in order to like pay employees, pay the state, pay for insurance, internet marketing, all that kind of stuff, I'd have to sell it for $4,000 wholesale, which means the cheapest you would probably find it on the street would be $5,300. I mean, for dealers too, they have to make money on these things, or they can't rent their building. They can't pay their bills. They can't pay their staff. They can't buy new stock for the store. So if he's got $4,000 invested in this amp, he really wants to make $2,000 off of it, but he'd probably settle for $1,200 or $1,300. So that means now this amp, instead of being $3,000 retail like it was 16 years ago, it would be over $5,000. More than likely, if I sold it to a dealer for, let's just say $4,000, which I'd have to sell it for more than that, but let's just, for easy math for this conversation, he's going to want to sell it for 55. And then you can talk him down, and he'll throw in tax, and here's a case of strings and a free cable, and so he'll end up he's got to make $1,000 off of it, because he's got $4,000 tied up in this amp. That's $4,000 that's not earning interest. That's $4,000 that's not being invested in his store. That's $4,000 that is not going towards paying bills and debt service and everything else he's got to pay, or she, excuse me. So the market's pretty brutal. A lot of people don't understand why things cost the way they do. Well, you made it for $1,000. Why don't you sell it for $1,200? Because I would be working, out of my mother's basement. And there are amp companies that do that. And you'll see them do that for the first year or two. Yeah, your Empire's an early one. Yeah. So there are a lot of companies you see do that. And then mysteriously they go out of business really quick, or their prices have to go way up, because you should make 3 times your cost at wholesale in order to be sort of profitable, where you can not worry too much. And so if I were to do that, let's say this amp cost me $2,000 to build it, I would have to sell it wholesale for $6,000. I don't really have to, but just for easy math. So like a cheap amp that used to cost me $800 to make, I would sell it for, $1,800, and then the dealer could sell it for $2,500. And they have expenses and costs and shipping and everything. It's not clean profit, right? So anyway, it just adds up really fast, and these things are expensive to make. I don't know. The Empires, for the most part, are just on. It's all free flying, so they might all be point to point like that. Technically, a turret board is still point to point. Depends on how you string it together. On our turret boards, we actually connect the parts. We just use the turret board as an anchor spot. Some people don't. The leads are going into the same hole, but they're not touching. We do it where they're touching. But honestly, you're just splitting micro hairs at this point. That doesn't make it sound any different. But it's posh. People like to say that. But it doesn't make a difference. I think I told you about the shootout we did with the whiskey, right? Where we had hand-wired ones and some printed circuit board ones that our friend Tracy Norton, who's a ridiculous engineer, helped us do. And where's the rack screws? I got to put the rack back. Never mind. With Dave Friedman, I did it at Friedman's shop. Blind test. One was hand wired. One was done with the new style printed circuit board. And I chose the printed circuit board one every time. And I'm the biggest cork sniffing snob there is. So, and that was a long time ago. That was over a decade ago. So, that technology's come a long way. The whole thing of, oh, mine's hand wired, you peasants. Those days are kind of over. Um, you know, they're not bad. There's nothing wrong with being hand wired. It's just a lot of money that, like I say, if I were to build this now hand wired, it would probably cost retail over $5,000. I'm not going to sell a lot of amps at $5,000, right? So what we're trying to do is go back to we're going to do printed circuit boards, and then I'm going to use, I'm not certain, but I think I'm going to use Haybor transformers because Mercury has raised their prices so insanely high. And Haybor's where this manufacturer is, they're very close, and so they make great stuff. I mean, I've always wanted to use their transformers. I just didn't want to ship them across the country. They're in Michigan. So we're going to build some prototypes. I'm going to do side-by-sides with old amps, make sure they're perfect. And we'll get it nailed in. We're going to fix a few things. Like for those of you that have bump amps, I think we've come up with make that switch quieter. We're probably going to add active effects loops to all of them because I know you guys like those. So it's going to be a little bit of a step forward, not cutting edge at all, but just a little more modern build of an amp. But by doing that, I can keep the price down. So, and that I can probably keep, like a Stone Pony or a little Elvis, well under $3,000, hopefully under $2,500. I don't know yet. I'm still waiting on these numbers, so I'm not promising anything. But anyway, that's down in reasonable credit card range. If I say, hey, your little Elvis head now is $19.95 or something, people can digest that. If I told them it was $4,000, they would kind of go, oh, dude. And even if I could justify it, like give you a spreadsheet on why everything costs so much and, figure what your bills are. I mean, when we were if we did double our cost, we really didn't make much money. If we did triple our cost, it was fine. But it just raised the prices up so much. So we try to do 2.5. And even then, my net after taxes and insurance and salaries and all the bills, utilities, advertising, marketing expenses, we'd make like 10%. And why are your amps so expensive? You're just being like, hey man, trust me, they are not expensive. A good piece of gear costs money to make. You can't make great stuff with cheap parts. There's no way around it. If I could figure out that puzzle. So I'm working with Pacific also, Spruce Creek. They're here, but the contract manufacturer, matter of fact, here's my latest bill from Pacific Transformers. Just at Haybor's right by where this contract manufacturer is. So that's going to save us a lot of money. And he already has a great relationship with them. He builds amps for other people too. And he's already buying a lot of Haybors. So he gets the bro deal on everything. So we'll actually get him at a good price. And the wait times will be really tiny. So Jerry White says, I like watching Chris Fantana's YouTube channel from the UK, Rift Amps, who explains a lot of the difficulties in the business, such as customers are not collecting their repaired amps properly, reducing his space. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of sort of tactical things you don't think about. Does he do repairs as well as build? Basil says 65 amps under 3K is great. I'll tell you, a ripoff. $2.50 for a can of Diet Coke. Yeah, I could just give you some battery acid if you want it. Diet Coke's horrible. I like to drink it though, but there's nothing good about it. It's just a can full of shit chemicals. I don't know Chris's YouTube channel, but sounds good. Yeah, there's a lot of tactical things you don't think about in a business, and people from the outside love to look in. A, it's the internet, so everybody wants to criticize you. Um, but um, just manufacturing is way more complex than you think it is. It's human nature to kind of look over the fence and go, "Oh, that's easy. I could do that. What the hell?" And there's been a lot of guys try that in our industry, and you know them. I don't want to say names, Premier Business Guild, because that would be rude. But those are people who are outside the business with a lot of money who looked over the fence and said, "No, we can do this and we can do it better." It didn't work out that way. Um, they gave it a good run and they made some good products, but you got to have experience, you know. And especially in this business, like if you're a guitar manufacturer, especially, oh my God, you know, like you really got to be able to play guitar to understand if your guitar is any good or not. But same thing with amps. Like one of the things that Peter and I always thought was a bonus is that we know what they're supposed to sound and feel and act like. We don't have to guess because he's still playing music for a living. I did for a long time. Um, he's been playing professionally, I think, since 1978. Um, as long as I met him in 1986. And in 1986, he was playing for a living and had been doing it for a while. And he's still out on the road with Cheryl, and he's got his own band, Close Enemies, which, by the way, get their new record. It's great. If you like rock bands, they're a true, proper rock band. They're really good. Anyway, it's almost 1 o'clock. I need to go. Nice crowd. I appreciate you guys showing up. I'm kind of rambling on here. Any questions you would like me to address? Anything you're curious about? Yeah, Basil, I think we're all going to be well under 3K. That's my goal, at least. And even to me, that sounds crazy expensive, you know, because I've been out of the game for a little while. But apparently it's not. Like, oh, thank you, Spruce Creek. Where are you, man? What part of the world are you in? If you said it earlier, I missed it. I'm sorry. Do I know you? I don't recognize the handle that you're using. But if I don't know you, I'd like to know you. Absolutely. Um, yeah, it's fun. I enjoy talking to you guys. And I wish I had better stories and a better attitude and everything today. But oh, you're in Maine. Okay, great. Love it up there. I played up there a few times, and I have some friends that live up there. And beautiful, beautiful state. Um, Even in the winter, which is pretty rough, it's still a beautiful place. But yeah, man, I'm just kind of in this holding pattern right now, waiting for. It's like a Lucille Ball skit, you know. Once I get this, then this happens, and then this happens, and it triggers a series of events that I think are going to be very positive and lead to us manufacturing amps and selling them maybe by June or July. You know, like hopefully earlier, but I think that's realistic if we get rolling. So then this summer, hopefully all this war nonsense is over and gas prices have gone back down and grocery prices have gone back down and you can afford to buy amps. That would be nice. So anyway, but everybody's doing the best they can and I appreciate that. Um, anyway, I gotta go. It's 1 o'clock. Do you guys have any questions for me um, before I split? Um, so funny why, because I'm left-handed. I've never seen this before. I'll be a regular. Caught a few shows when you used to. Oh, well, thanks for coming back, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you. I do appreciate your time and respect your time. I try not to waste it. I don't always succeed. Mike Hogan, hey buddy, how are you? Thank you. It's great to see you. So you guys may notice some of these guys are on YouTube, and some of these guys are on Facebook. So the people on other platforms can't see the other platforms' comments. So there's probably a lot of Facebook guys going here. Who's he talking to? I'm on two YouTube channels too, my own YouTube channel and the 65 amps YouTube channel. So it looks like YouTube got a little bit more action today, which is great. I'd eventually like to go over to YouTube full time, but for now I can't. But I do got to run. So last call for conversation. If you guys have any questions you want me to go over before we're done? Otherwise, I'm going to head out and get working back on some documents to get all this stuff finished. I got to talk to my lawyer about stuff. I have a great lawyer, so I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of work to do getting the company started again. Any views on Thomas Blug's anticipated Amp X? I don't even know what that is, Jerry. I'm out of touch. I'm too busy working on my own stuff to be keeping up with all the goss. Is it cool? I don't know. I don't even know who Thomas Blug is. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound ignorant, but I'm ignorant. When you get doing this kind of stuff, you get pretty focused. It's also dangerous for an amp maker to look at other amp makers because you get tempted to go, I can do that better than that. And let's chase him. I'm just doing my own thing. Trying not to chase anybody. People want to chase me, it's fine, but they're behind the curve because I've already started. Anyway, I'm going to run. You know what I might do? I have a Monterey here that I might want to switch over to 7591s. And there's a little bit of work in that. It's not, you can't just swap tubes. There's some rewiring and some values that have to change. Please look it up for next time. Okay, I will. Thomas Blug's anticipated Amp X. All right. I have no idea what that is, but now I'm intrigued. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully, I've got some good news for you. Anyway, if I don't see you, have a great weekend. Have fun. If you're in the east part of the country, you have a Monterey. All right, Mike. The Amp 1 is cool. All right. I'll look it up. I don't even know who this guy is, but now I need to know him. Anyway, if you guys are in the east, I hope the weather's treating you better. If you're out here in the west, turn on your air conditioning, man. We're having heat waves, 95 degrees today. Anyway, I got to run. I love you, fellas. I will see you very soon, and have a great weekend. Everything's going to be okay, I promise.